Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. This is the Dominator 40 ME2 cam. So it's a 40-inch bow, ME2 cams. It's new for PSE for 2023. It's their target bow, not their hunting bow. Comes in three sizes, 40, 38 and 35. Comes in three cam types. This one is 340 feet per second, 7.125 brace height, weighs a little bit over 5 pounds. Draw length is adjustable from 27 to 31. Adjustable draw stops here to adjust the let off. So moving the draw stop forward moves the draw stop, decreases the let off. Rotating modules, which is pretty standard on all your PSEs. A being the longest and I being the shortest. Very easy to do. It's a Torx thing, 2 screws. Now, on this bow, this replaces this PSE citation. It's paint finish versus anodized. And this bow is designed to be able to be left-handed or right-handed. Now, with the paint finish, you'll notice on one side it's not painted here, and on the other side you can see a little bit of silver. The reason is this is for left or right-handed, so you can move this to the other side so it'll cover up that paint, but it is what it is. White limbs, there's the graphics there. Standard yoke system. Now what's different is about these things here. These are shims. You can move your cam left to right by changing these shims. The shims have to add up to the same number, whatever that number is. So let's say the number's 22. It's always got to add up to 22, whether it's been 10 and 12, 11 and 11, 9, 9 and 12, 8 and 13. 8 and 13 would be 21. So anyway, that's what we're aiming for. They've changed the cable guard, locks in there, adjustable. They've had this before, roller cable guard, standard one fitting there. Multiple sight holes. Now to convert this bow from left to right-handed, you've got to put the bow in a bow press, take the strings off, loosen these little scrub screws on the side here, and then swap the cams upside down and move this to the other side. Now what scares me with this is when you take that off, you might break the paint, or there might be marks there. So I'm going to suggest that while it's a nice idea, most people are not going to be happy with buying a right-handed bow and converting to left-handed. What else about this bow? So what has PSE changed? They no longer have the limb locking system, which they used to have in here, which used to push the limbs out. They only lock them in, push them in, not push them this way and lock them that way. So it's just a one locking system. There's no limb locking system that you used to have on your PSE citation where the limbs lock in place, so you couldn't move it and the limb bolts didn't move. That's now gone. Price point on this bow, it's going to be cheaper than the Hoyt Stratos. It's going to be cheaper than your TRX, I'm going to guess. Same sort of price as the Elite Verdict. So cheaper than Bowtech, cheaper than Hoyt, cheaper than Matthews, but the same price as the Elite Verdict. In Australia, you expect to pay about $2,500 for this bow. Dual stops here and here. That's about it. Let's have a go. Oh, now what's changed? They used to have a 1/4-inch axle. That's gone. These axles are meant to not be able to tighten up. When I say not meant to be able to tighten up, you can't over tighten them. They screw into the side. Looks like a Matthews system, where it comes into the side. Now, this bow looks to me to be like the old PSE Perform or the old PSE Dominator. So, look, it is what it is. I would have thought it would have made more sense for PSE to produce a bow like the Matthews TRX or like the Elite Verdicts, which is the longer riser, the shorter limbs. However, after saying that, I'm trying to get this off because this normally flies off when I shoot, and I don't want that stable coming into my eye. Saying that, Dave Cousins just shot the World Field Championship. We shot the World Field Championship. These always come off really easy, except while I'm doing a review, because PSE has changed from paper, obviously, to plastic and some sort of sticky stuff. It just doesn't want to come off. It wants to stay there forever, which is handy for me because I never normally take off my tags. But I do normally take off this. I can't get it off. Dave Cousins just shot in the World Field Championship with one of these. He shot the SE cam version. Don't know if he shot the 40 or the 38, and he won. So whether Dave is the greatest archer or this is the greatest bow ever made, I will never know. I know Dave Cousins is a great archer, and he's had a fair bit of success since he's swapped to PSE. He obviously had lots of success at Hoyt. Not so much success at Prime, but he's done pretty good at PSE. Like he, comes towards the top of stuff with PSE. So now the grip on this feels like all the other PSEs. It's a smooth finish. So I'm going to try a Victory VAP. I haven't shot this, so I haven't drawn this bow back. It's a 60-pound bow set at 29 inches. The limbs are not like the Citation limb. They're more like the Perform limb or your Supra limb. So I'm going to go through the, here's the poundage of the limb, the deflection number, 158 on the top left, top right, 164 bottom left, and on this side 167. So the heaviest limb is on that bottom, lightest limb up here, and these two are the same. Sometimes these two limbs will be different, but that's meant to keep the whole limbs all aligned all the way through. Okay, so let's just try the draw. So this is a 60-pound bow, and I should be able to draw 60 pounds like it's butter, because I shoot 55 pounds on a recurve these days. Right. So these are the 340 feet per second limbs. So this should be hard to start with, and it certainly is. The SE will be smoother. So that's pretty hard. Oh. Well, you just gotta let that down. Oh. That scared the heck out of me. And that normally happens on videos I do. I don't know what that click was. I don't know if you heard the click. There was a click just as I got over the draw cycle. It clicked. So I'll try and... So it's solid all the way through, hard. And then it drops into the valley. Quite sudden. It's like a... so if you're familiar with PSE, it's like the draw cycle on the Expedite. Very much a hunting draw cycle. Quite aggressive. And that's why you're getting 340 feet per second with a 7-inch brace height. If you think, you went to a 6-inch brace height with this bow, it would be a 355. So it's very much like an Expedite. Bit easier than the Omen to draw, or full throttle. So easier draw cycle than that. But up in that side, you're going to say what's it like compared to the EM? Very similar to the EM cam. The EM cam was fast. All right, let's take the shot. .282 feet per second. Now that's a Victory VAP 350 with 140 grain points on it. 29 inches. I'm going to say the draw length felt short for me. So it should be factory set at 29. And it's set on E, so if this goes 31... 30, this is 29, and it feels short. It feels like 28, feels a bit longer than 28, but I'm going to say it feels 28 and a half, around that sort of size, or shorter in draw length. The beauty of PSE is you can rotate that module to make it feel comfortable for you. Now when you shoot the shot, there's a bit of vibration coming through the riser when you shoot it. Let's just do it again. There's a bit of noise. It's not like a buzzing hum noise. It's sounds like a fast hunting bow. It sounds like, a bit like the Expedite. In fact, it feels like the Expedite to shoot. Incredibly so. You can feel the vibration. And when I say vibration, it's like when you shoot the bow, you can feel it kind of just boom in your hand. It's not continuous vibration like some of the bows will be. It's just a thud. It's not bad. A little bit different to the Supra to shoot. More like the Perform. So it's like a Perform on steroids. If you shot a PSE Perform, it's like that bow. Which is kind of makes sense because it's kind of like that and it's a faster cam. So there you go. Makes sense. Okay, so that one was 281. The first one was 283. We're going to shoot gold tip velocity. This is 327 grains. It's a 400 spine with a 90 grain point in it. Like, it's not like it feels bad to shoot. It's just different. Like your Matthews and your Verdict from Elite, it's a very dead bow to shoot. They have short limbs, short parallel limbs. So this is going to be like your NXT 35s and your 33, short parallel limbs, big riser, very dead in your hand to shoot. The draw stops feel solid on this. The crack I heard was only in the first shot, and that was probably the modules just settling in for that first draw. Right. So I would expect, if this is a 340 feet per second bow, I'd be expecting like 310. And when you get back in the draw stop, it's a 75% let off, and it probably feels more like 70. Very, like, the valley is like tiny. It's very much like the EM cam, like a Hoyt cam system, very short valley. So I'm going to say this bow feels more like a Hoyt than a PSE. Now if you fitted this bow with the SE cams, it'll feel more like your PSE or your Perform from ages ago, because that's what it basically is, right? It's the same cams, same limbs as the old Perform. But with these cams, they feel more Hoyt-like. Short valley, aggressive. Bear with a fair bit of speed for a 70. .307, so that was pretty close to 310. The strings are live wire, which is the PSE strings that are made in the factory. I'm going to say if you do convert the bow from left to right, you're going to have to retune the strings, which is a bit of pain. Takes a bit of time to do that, but with that, I think we'll go back to 18. How do I think I'll shoot with it? I think I'll shoot pretty good with it. It's got a big brace height, so should be fairly steady as far as aiming. Although it's got a bit of a thud when you shoot the bow, that will not affect the accuracy of the bow. It's a very solid wall when you get back to the stop, which is quite comfortable. Now I'm going to say like a bow like the Elite, it's got cable stops, which is what this has, and it also has the ability to fit limb stops, which give you more of a rock solid wall. This does feel solid, but it doesn't have the adjustability that some of the other bows have. But it's very, I'm going to say it feels very much like the Hoyt target bow with this cam system. Alright, so with that, we're going to go back to 18 meters and we'll see how well we shoot. Okay, so I'm just adjusting my sight. I'm literally going to just move the sights up a smidge and then do the review. So one of my friends who shoots PSE, I'm going to say is sponsored, asked me which PSE Dominator should I shoot, the 40, the 38 or the 35, and why? And I replied, I have no idea. Now my reasoning for that is, and he said, well, it'll make a difference with the angle on the string, how far the peep sight is away from your eye, and that is true. Now when you think about a recurve shooter does not have a peep sight. So if the peep sight is further away from your eye, the hole will appear to be smaller. So you'll need a larger peep sight hole to have the same impact as a shorter one, where the peep sight's closer to your eye. So with the longer bow, the peep sight's going to be closer to your eye. With the shorter bow, the peep sight's going to be further away from your eye. So it's highly possible that as you go for a shorter bow, you'll need a a bigger peep sight hole. All right, but look, it's a minor thing. I have top shooters, and I'm talking Australian level shooters who have shot the 40-inch bow, then grabbed a 33-inch bow and has shot exactly the same scores. No difference at all. And he's like, well, I really like the 33-inch bow. That shoots great. And it does. It shoots great. And yes, the peep sight's further away from his eye. And which bow is he going to shoot better with? He shot the same. Now, this is not a once-off. I've got so many people who've got bows like this, a target bow, and then they have their hunting bows with the short parallel limbs and they shoot exactly the same scores with them. And I was like, whoa, I think I like this feel better than that feel. Now, when I do these reviews, I'm also thinking about that. And I would think with this bow, do I want a 40? Do I want a 38? And then which cams do I prefer? Now, with Hoyt, they give you the option of 2 cams. Now, PSE is giving the option of 3 cams. So it's a bit confusing for me. And when I shoot this, I've shot now 3 arrows to sight the bow in, and I've just moved my sights. This bow feels very much like a Hoyt to shoot, and I said that earlier on. And what I mean by that, this is not an easy bow to shoot. This cam is for someone who shoots all the time, because it's a harder draw cycle, a smaller valley, it's more aggressive. If you're a type of archer who shoots once a week, go for the SE cam, it's going to be smoother. Dave Cousins, go for the SE cam, smoother. If you want more speed for 3D archery, then this is your cam. Now, for 3D archery, you're always going to weigh up the difference between speed and accuracy and smoother draw, so you've got to think about that. And that's where it becomes confusing. So, I don't know. A lot of the Hoyt shooters like the more aggressive cams. They actually choose the more aggressive cam of the two. A lot of them. But these are shooters who shoot a lot of arrows every day. And the cams are something like this shape. And this is what this bow feels like to draw. Most of the PSE shooters prefer smoother cams to draw. And this reminds me of the video I just did on the Elite Verdict. Big cams, a little bit more aggressive than the Elite result, but still easier than this. And it's like, what draw cycle do you want? How do you want your bow to feel when you shoot? And I'm going to say again, it doesn't make much difference. What makes a difference is the mount which you shoot. Shoot a lot and you'll get used to it. So let's shoot some arrows and let's see where they go. I do find the SE cam, so I shot the EM cam, which is more aggressive like this, and I shot it very well, except it was very hard on me for the bad shots. So the shot which wasn't as good, it was very aggressive on me. But if I shot it well, I'm going to say it shot better than the SE cam. But I shot the SE cam more consistently. Overall, the scores were the same between both bows. I'm going to say most of my scores are very similar between any bow I shoot. Now that time the draw cycle felt smoother for me. I don't know if I'm just getting used to it or what, but it felt smoother. And that arrow didn't go where I expected to go. I expected to go straight in the middle. Now the bow's definitely got more movement after the shot than the Verdict, which is almost dead in your hand. Because you've got cables here moving, but you've got more speed with this bow. So when I shoot the shot, I feel a little bit of this feel it'll kind of break away like that in the shot. Now, because this is a target bow, you can see it doesn't have balance. It's backwards balancing. So this bow is going to shoot a lot better with target stabilizers on it than, you know, like your 35-inch NXT 35s. And, you know, it's highly possible I'll shoot those better than this because they were built for being shot without stabilizers because they're balanced. Look, the aim's pretty good. I do feel a little bit of movement in the sight pin. It feels like it's staying in the 10, but it feels harder to hold. That could just be me getting used to the draw. So after the shot, I felt that. Now that could be me, how I'm holding the bow and creating torque. It definitely feels, this bow most reminds me of the Expedite to shoot. It's like an Expedite with a bigger brace height. So the Expedite had about a, I'm going to say 5.5, I think probably 6-inch brace height, a little bit under 6. So it's a little bit more twitchy in the aiming. So there's a little bit less twitchy in the aiming, but the shot feels the same when it breaks. Now, I am seeing a little bit of the left to right vibration when I aim. Now, with a big long stabilizer with a whole bunch of weights at the end, that's just going to clear up. That won't exist. Again, I'm going to say the SE cam is going to be easier. And the SE cam has the option of low let off or high let off. I don't know about this cam. I guess it won't because this is a speed cam. But with your SE cam, you had high let off, low let off, and fast modules. So 3 types of modules you can buy for it. Now, going back to the Hoyt shooters, with a more aggressive bow, a harder drawing bow like this, it's harder to shoot. Now, if you're a beginner, start off easy, start off light. You want smooth, easy to shoot. Then as you shoot more, you can go for more aggressive bows. Look, I don't know where that arrow went, but it felt like a pretty decent shot. The bow feels harder to me to shoot than some of the other bows. And if I'm going to stick in the PSE realm, the 35s with the parallel limbs feel easier to shoot. The drive feels easier to shoot than this because it's got more parallel limbs. Now, how's this compared to the Supra? I feel like the Supra had just more jump forward than this bow. But it definitely reminds me of the Perform, which I was always okay shooting. And once you put on stabilizers, it was fine. And I think this bow would be fine once you put stabilizers on. You can see that time when I pulled it back, I I did this sort of thing in the draw cycle. That's just me getting used to the bow. But it's because that valley jumps in and I'm trying to draw back slow so that it doesn't bounce off her blade rest. Like if you were shooting a drop weight, you just boof, pull it straight back, but I tend to draw back very smooth and take my time in the drawing, which is why sometimes I have trouble with the bows that dump into the valley. The last arrow. Look, I'm going to say I own a full throttle, and the full throttle is a fast bow. It's a custom full throttle, and I've owned it for a number of years, and I had many people ask if they can buy the bow off me, and I've always said no. I've barely shot the bow, and I've shot target with it, but it's not a bow I shoot a lot because of the draw cycle. I much prefer a smoother draw cycle, things that are easier on my body. This felt hard against my body. The cams to me were too aggressive for what I would want. I would definitely go for the SE cam. There's no question at all. For 3D, this may be an option for me. This cam, the M2, now it's 10 feet per second difference between the M2 and SE, so bear that in mind. But this draw cycle, like, maybe I'd get used to it, and I probably would. But I'm going to say I found the ME cam easier to draw than this. It's very much like the Expedite and Full Throttle draw cycle. It feels like a Hoyt. SVX cam to draw where it's boof, dumps in, and I'm going to say that's the most popular Hoyt target bow there is, the SVX, at least here, whether that's just people copying people, but this is what this bow feels like. Let's go down and see how the arrows are on the target. Well, look, there's some 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10s, 18 meters, Whisker Biscuit, basic $30 sight, 3 9s, and an 8 here. Look, it's not horrible, but it's not what I've shot before. Now, there's lots of reasons for that. I didn't find the draw cycle easy. I definitely shoot better with a smooth draw cycle because I'm more stable. So I get back here in this arm that I'm holding the bow with is stable. When I draw back in the hard cycle, this is moving, so I've got to get this settled again. That will definitely be better with stabilizers because it wouldn't move as much. The bow's not balanced as much. I'm going to guess this is similar to what I've shot before with the PSE Perform and the Citation, which is not set up. So I definitely shoot better in my reviews, I think, with hunting bows that are well balanced. And you're going to say, well, the verdict from Elite I shot amazing with because it's well balanced. It's a smooth draw cycle. It's a dead stop at the end. It all just fitted for me. It was a high let off, so I was back here and I was very comfortable aiming. The sight pin here, I was moving around a bit, and when it broke kind of like that. So my summary of the Dominator, PSE I think has improved the cable guard, and I think that's a good thing. I don't know about the shims yet. That may be a good or bad thing. I didn't mind the old system, to be honest with you. It wasn't that much of an issue for me. And I've never really adjusted the shims. Okay, I did on the Perform. I tried moving it. I did a video on that at the time. With the 3 cam systems, I think PSE have created 3 bows. This is definitely a fast hunting bow, and I don't think a hunter would want a shoot-through riser, although a 3D archer may want a shoot-through riser. I would then question whether a 3D archer the extra 10 or 12 feet that you can get from this more aggressive cam will be made up for in the shootability. However, if you shoot a lot, you probably will not have those shakes and that stuff will go. So my summary for me, if I was to buy a Dominator, I would buy the SE cam. I have shot the Supras at 40 inches and 38 inches, and I have shot 36 inches on the Citation. I have not seen any difference in scores between those bows. I would probably shoot the 38 inch bow just because it's 38 inches and I'm like, well, it's in between. No real reasoning for it other than that. If I was taller and I had a longer draw length, then I may choose the 40 inch bow because it's just taller and bigger. But I'm not. If I was shorter, let's say I'm a little bit shorter, then you may go for a shorter bow just because everything's a little bit smaller and your bracelet's smaller. That's my reckoning for it. Saying that, I have not noticed any difference in scores between me shooting longer bows and shorter bows, and I've done heaps and heaps of testing on that. Although for target I still choose longer bows just because it's psychologically I feel more comfortable with it, but I have not seen anything in the scores. And I've definitely seen no difference in scores between the Supra 37, Supra 40, Supra EM cam and Supra SE cam. No difference in my scores at all. So I think it's a negative that PSE has dropped the limb locking system, because I think that was a good thing. I don't know how they're going to go with the paint system. I wouldn't be keen to swap from left to right because I'd be worried that when I take the cable guard off, it'll damage the paint. But it is it's a feature that you can swap from left to right, and definitely for second-hand values it's good. The PSE has changed from their existing axle system to this new axle system. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I had no issues with the thicker axles. No issues. Great system, worked well. I don't know why they changed. So all up, where does it sit in the marketplace? It's cheaper than the Hoyt. Hoyt has got adjustable grips. Besides that, it's pretty much the same. Adjustable grip, what's an adjustable grip versus the PSE? And I'm like, the Hoyt has got a roller cable guard versus the PSE sliding cable guard, so it depends on how you value that. I haven't shot the Hoyt, and to be honest, I have tried drawing back the Hoyt and I haven't been able to draw it at 60 pounds. It was too hard for me, so I didn't want to rip my shoulder, so I didn't shoot it, and we probably will do a video on it, and hopefully I'll be able to draw it, or I'll wind the bow back so I can draw it. So definitely a more aggressive draw cycle on the Hoyt. Look, the bow tech is more expensive. I think it's a nice bow. The Elite Verdict is the same poundage of this bow. It's a non-shoot-through system, and it's got fancy stuff with tuning where you move the limbs and cable stops and limb stops. I think it's an interesting bow at its price point. To me, I think PSE produced the wrong bow, and maybe they need to revisit it. I think they should have produced the NXT in a 38 for target. Long riser, short limbs, short parallel limbs. That's the bow they should have produced. They could have put all these cams on it if they wanted, and I think PSE should go back to custom finishes, because that was cool. It was cool when they did red cams. It was cool when they did blue cams. It was cool having options. I think the paint finish is going to be an issue because now your accessories don't match with the color of the paint, where before they did. So if you had red, which is my color, I had red matching sights. It all matched in. I don't think the red paint will match in with this bow. So greatest bow ever. Dave Cousins won the World Field. I don't know how long he's been shooting the bow for, and that bow would be very different to this bow to shoot. I had no issues with the Dominators. I had no issues with the Perform. I still own the Perform, which I did in the review. I still own the Citation, which I did in the review. I think the Citation was a step up from the Perform. I think it was a nicer finished bow than the Perform, although I had no issues with the Perform. I question... PSE would say this bow is a step up. And I suppose I'm going to say I don't see it. They'll probably get me in trouble from PSE. However, it is cheaper than the Hoyt, which is a shoot-through riser. It's cheaper than the Bowtech, which is a shoot-through riser. I'm going to say the Supra is still going to outsell the Dominator. Always has. The Supra will outsell this Dominator 10 to 1, as it has from the day it's been built, which is over 10 to 12 years. The Supra has always been the selling bow for PSE in the target lineup. And I'm going to say that more people will buy the Laser than the Dominator because of the price point. And I don't think this is going to be anywhere different. I don't see that Hoyt shooters are going to swap from Hoyt to the Dominator. I think you'll see some PSE shooters upgrade to the Dominator who are shooting the Citation just because it's latest greatest. And they do that every year. So there'll be a whole bunch of people who just do the upgrade every year. They just buy the latest bow. For me, I'm not seeing it. I've been happy to upgrade every year in the past. And the bow I would upgrade to would be the 38 SE. If I was to upgrade. And I don't mind the paint finish, but I think I prefer the anodized. So I'm Stephen Han from Archery Supplies, and it's probably going to get me in the pain with PSE, but that's like, we've done reviews before on PSE where I'm like, this is awesome, these are the problems, and I think that's why people kind of watch the channel, and I do get in trouble from manufacturers, but I think that's an honest review of the bow. It's very different to PJ O'Reilly's. Good on you, PJ, for this is the greatest bow ever. And this bow would be much better with stabilizers on it. So I might set this bow up with stabilizers and shoot some, put some stabilizers on it, and that way you get the true feel of what this bow's like. Now I'm going to say I did do a review a few years ago on the PSE Shootdown, very similar style to this bow, very similar. And this is probably a good group compared to that. That bow was a really good shooting target bow. I just didn't do it justice in the review. And I always know, and it always stuck to me, that I didn't shoot that bow very well, and it could be the balance, it could be whatever. SE cams were good, but just the balance, yet with stabilizers on it, shot great. So anyway, I'm Stephen Han. Make your own assessment of the bows. My recommendation for you is to go in and try them out. Try out the latest bows, feel what they draw like, see how they feel to shoot, and make your own assessment of the bow before you buy one. Anyway, thanks for watching, and the more you shoot, the better you shoot. Thanks.